Stop calling yourself self-taught. I know, I say this as someone who has referred to herself by that term a number of times over the past few years. So this might seem like a strange hill to die on, but I've been thinking about it, and I've changed my mind about that term self-taught. So today, I'm going to swatch some oil paints and paint this delicious looking ribeye steak while I try and convince you to stop calling yourself self-taught. So I am laying out all of the oil paints that I have that are transparent and in the red, violets, and yellow colors because I want to mix all of the violets and the yellows that I have to see what range of transparent colors I can get out of them. So you see me putting out a little bit on my palette here. And notice there's some Bob Ross paint in there. I wanted to acknowledge that. Here's what's true. I didn't go to art school. I haven't sat in front of a single art teacher, unless you count a paint and sip. I didn't have a mentor standing over my shoulder, correcting the way I hold my paintbrush. I figured out a lot of this on my own time, in my own space, making a lot of mistakes in private. That part is real and that counts. Those efforts count. But calling that being self-taught, that implies that I did it in a vacuum. It implies that no one showed me anything, and nothing could be further from the truth. And here we have a swatching layout that I learned from someone. I've been using it for so long, I forget who I originally learned it from. What I have is all of my purple and yellow colors that I'm going to use and test, written both down the side and then across the top. So you can see there's quinacridone violet at the top, and it's also the very first one in the column across the top. And I'm just using this Canson mixed media paper for this task. So I want to show you what I'm doing here. Now we're mixing Hansa Yellow Light. So I've got some Hansa Yellow Light here, and then I need 3 piles of it because I need it with these 3 colors that we've already tested. So I'm going to put a little pile here, and then I'm working with one hand, so I'm trying to wipe my knife. Okay. Oh, I did that too soon. And I need a little pile here to mix it with that one, little pile here. And then I'm going to wipe my knife and grab a little of this red, bring it down here, wipe again, a little of this, bring it here, wipe again, and a little of this one and bring it here. Okay, so those are all the mixes that I'm going to test. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope that, well, anyway, you can see. I started with the yellow, and then I'm going to test these 3 mixes. So those are all out, and I've done everything with my palette knife. Now, before I put them in the book, I'm going to just loosen them up a little bit here. And now I'm going to turn around and walk across the room. So here's the turning around. I'm going to walk across the room to my desk. And now over here, I find the Hansa Yellow Light and start to put it in the lower corner. And then I'm going to walk back to my palette. And this is just what we do when we don't have a really adequate setup. So grabbed my palette, grabbed a little white on just the dirty brush that I had, mix a little white into it. Head back here. This is the color with white. So the next mixture I'm going to grab is the yellow with the alizarin crimson. Okay, this one is the yellow with alizarin crimson. So I'm going to mix them a little bit slowly at first because reds take over very, very quickly. So that's probably all the red I will have mixed in, just a tiny little bit of what I had brought over. So I'm going to grab this. Now I'm going to go back, add it to the palette, come back here, add a little white, then move on to this next one. So I'm going to put you back on the overhead for the rest of this so you don't see me running back and forth all day. You see, every YouTube tutorial I watched, all of those artists were my teachers. Every shorts tip that I absorbed at midnight while sitting on the couch, all of those were lessons from teachers. Every art book I've pulled off my shelf or in the library, every time I pause a video to look really hard at what colors were used to mix something or admire the atmospheric perspective in a painting, all of those things are real lessons from real people who took real time to share what they know, to teach. And I learned. So now I want to share with you what I learned from this swatching process. I wanted to see how my purples and yellows worked together to make some things in the brown family. But what I was really surprised by were two things that I didn't expect. Number one, and they both had to do with the color Van Dyke brown. So that's this color across the bottom line. The first thing I was surprised by is I didn't realize how much blue Van Dyke brown had in it. So that when it was mixed with the Hansen yellow light, which is a cool yellow color, it brought out actually it was probably the blue, the green in the Hansen yellow light, because it's a cool yellow that when mixed with the Van Dyke brown created this fascinating green. And then when mixed with white, that also created a, fascinating, really lovely green. And because my stake painting that I'm about to paint has green in it, I've now learned that I don't need to put any greens or even blues out on my palette, because with this limited palette, I'm able to create the full range of colors that I need for my painting. And the second thing that I noticed was that this Van Dyke brown, when mixed with white and some of the violets here in the lower right-hand corner, made some lovely grays. And I never would have just gone with even just straight Van Dyke brown mixed with white. Makes a very lovely warm gray. And I'm not sure that I would have tried to get gray out of a brown like that. So that was also surprising for me. I really like some of these colors, and I think the only things that I need to add to my palette to make this steak is some black. So it's time to go paint the steak. Let's get started. I have learned from hundreds of people that I've never met, maybe even thousands. And when I call myself self-taught, I'm writing them all out of my history. And it's disrespectful. I want to give all of my teachers the respect and the acknowledgement that they deserve. And it goes even deeper than the actual lessons and learnings. When I was laying out my paint, I showed you some of my paint was Bob Ross paint. So part of Bob's expertise and knowledge went into creating the paint, the tools that I'm using. The brushes that I'm using came from other creators that I like and follow and purchased their brushes. The other paints that I have are from the Milan art program that I'm taking classes with. So the very tools that I'm using also are from my teachers. Think about what you're actually holding when you pick up just a standard pencil. The graphite in that pencil was discovered in Cumbria, England in the 1560s. Shepherds found a strange black substance that was near the roots of a tree that had blown over in a storm. The British government eventually put the mine under armed guard because the graphite they found in that mine was so valuable. The law was passed in 1752, making graphite theft punishable by hard labor. And in 1795, a French chemist named Nicolas Jacques Conté Yes, the same guy that created our beloved Conte crowns, figured out how to mix powdered graphite with clay and fire it in a kiln. And that process is still how your pencil is made today. That grading system, H for hard and B for soft, that came from a company in Vienna in the 1700s. So when you pick up that pencil and make your first mark, you're holding 500 years of human knowledge and evolution in your hand. You didn't discover graphite. You didn't develop the clay firing method. Generations of scientists, craftspeople, and manufacturers did that work for you. And those people are all your teachers too. You just didn't know about them. Now, I get why we love the word self-taught. It acknowledges us. There's something in the word that feels like we earned this. And we did. We went out and got that knowledge. No one handed it to us. There is real discipline in going out and finding your own teachers, finding your own information, learning and gathering and making your own course curriculum. So if you've been calling yourself a self-taught artist, congratulate yourself for designing your own art curriculum. But I think the word that we're actually looking for instead of self-taught is self-directed art education. So here's the replacement I want to offer you. Because if I'm asking you to give something up, I have to give you something better. So from here on out, when I'm asked if I went to art school, I'm going to reply, I attend the school of 1,000 teachers. Feels good, right? Because that's what's true. And acknowledging it feels like a step towards integrity. And if you called yourself self-taught before today, you might just be feeling that gentle warmth in your heart that tells you it's true for you as well. Your teachers just weren't all in one building. They were on YouTube at 2 a.m. They were in the book you found at the thrift store. They were in the comment section of someone's post where someone took the time to tell you what their favorite chromatic black mixes are. They were in the museum where you stood in front of that painting and just stared because you could not believe how beautiful the light was. And you studied that glow, trying to reverse engineer it. Those teachers were in the supplies that you picked up without knowing the centuries of refinement that went into making them. But all of those artists had input into what makes your supplies exactly what they are today. You've had to find those teachers yourself. You had to seek them out one at a time, sometimes without knowing if you were even doing it right. And that work is real. That discipline that you've shown is real. But you didn't do it alone. And now you don't have to say that you did. When you say you have 1,000 teachers, one thing is true. It means you'll always be a student. And that's wonderfully freeing. You stay curious and you stay open to the next lesson, no matter what direction it's coming from. And also, because those teachers deserve it. You haven't done it alone. You're standing on the shoulders of giants. The YouTuber who filmed the tutorial and edited it for you, so you could watch it at 2 a.m. They showed up for you. The author who spent years of their life developing the knowledge that went into that book that you read, they showed up for you. The TikTok artist who posted a quick tip that changed the way you draw something, they showed up for you. Every single one of those artists who came before us showed up for us and contributed to this vast knowledge that is becoming an artist. So let's stop writing them out of our story. So no, you're not self-taught. You've attended the school of 1,000 teachers. The admission process was curiosity. The tuition cost? Your time. and you had to build the curriculum yourself. That's harder than going to art school, honestly. It's not easier. It's much, much harder to get up and do something when someone isn't telling you what to do. So give yourself that credit. I want to know who's in your school of 1,000 teachers. Drop one name in the comments, whether it's a YouTuber, a book you've read, an artist that you follow whose art inspires you. Let me know. I'd like to know who your favorite resources are. Maybe it's even someone like Conti, who developed a tool 500 years ago that we still use every day today. I'm Donna Fox, and I'm on a mission to go from hobbyist to professional artist, and I am definitely not doing it alone. I'll see you in the next one. So here's the final look of my palette at the end of the painting, and here's my setup with the reference photo on my iPad and then the small painting there. And I think it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Although my husband looked at it and said, "Oh, it's cut." So, yeah, took him a while to recognize it. Oh, and this painting is dedicated to Amanda, who keeps telling me I'm encouraging her to break her ketogenic diet with all of my paintings of chocolate. So, this one's for you, Amanda.